Hello, Israel. I want to say good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this video. I'm coming to you in regards to some dreams I like to share with you rather, that I've been having for some time. And every time I tried to reveal them and make a video, something's always came up. Like it wasn't a certain time to just do it. But now my heart has compelled me and God is telling me to do it today. 400 years of slavery is up. Maybe this is the time He wanted me to reveal it. So I'm just going to go on without further ado and tell you about my dreams. So kind of bear with me. This is the first time I've ever made a YouTube video. So I'll do my best to do this correctly. The first dream I've ever had was a couple years ago. It was off and on. And I'd be laying in bed in my bedroom. And this only happened in my bedroom. It never happened anywhere else. I don't care where I stayed at. Only in my home, in my bed. After reading my Bible, saying my prayers, and going to sleep. I'd always go into a trance kind of sleep. It would be a deep sleep, one of them kinds you can't wake up. And I would always find myself levitating off my bed in a laying position. And once I realize I'm levitating to the ceiling, I'm waking up. Because I'm like fighting it. And I can feel my body it's like you're tumbling in air and you don't know what direction you're going and you're kind of fighting it. So I'm kind of hitting the wall in the corner of my ceiling and everything, and I'm fighting it. So I'm pleading the blood of Jesus to come up out of this dream because I don't know what's happening to me and I'm thinking it's something evil. Well, all along, eventually it wasn't. So I had the dream repeatedly, and finally I just said, you know what, let me just see what's going to happen. This is what I'm telling myself. So eventually I just went to sleep again one time, and I just levitated to the ceiling, and I was like floating on my back, and I kind of melted through my ceiling, and as soon as I went through the ceiling, it was black with stars, like I was in space. And I wasn't scared. I had this sense of peace, of calmness over me. So my mind told me to put my body in this upright position as if I was standing. Then all of a sudden this power of force came over me like Iron Man or Superwoman, if you so call want to put it. So I balled my fist up and I put them by my side and I kind of like shot off. And fire came out my fist and my feet and I took off flying. And all of a sudden, I saw this gray castle. And mind you, in the space I didn't see anything. So this half of a gray castle, of a corner of a gray castle. And it was shadowed all around every part of the rest of it. I couldn't see. It was just a corner. So I'm flying towards it. I had no fear. I had all this strength. I felt like I had all this power. And I felt like I could tell I was ready to do battle. Okay? So then I saw this huge angel. This angel had to be about, I want to say 12 feet tall. Okay? And this angel was dressed for battle. I mean, I couldn't tell if it was male or female, but I want to say he. Okay? I mean, he had this cape on. He had this iron breastplate. And he was armored from the feet up. And he had this long, shiny steel sword. Like I can remember it was gray. And the reflection off of it, it would have this glare. It was real shiny. And at that moment, I looked. And I had the same thing on. I mean, I had the breastplate on. I had a sword. I had the cape. I had, you know, the armor that comes up to your knees with the boots that protects your shins. And he didn't say anything to me. There was no word spoken. All I knew was that him and I we were about to do battle. And the battle that we were going was evil. So that was one dream. Another dream I had, I was out in the field, and a chariot came down and it landed in front of me, the craft, and he had like a ladder that came out, and this ladder came out, and I wasn't scared. It was telling me to get on board. So I kind of came down like a ladder, but then it leveled off to the ground, and it started rolling towards me to get on. And like an escalator or something you see at the mall. And once I put my feet on it, it started retracting, and then it bring me up into the craft. Now once I was on the craft, it took off. And there was like people in there. It was like we had to go through this neon blue decontamination process. It was neon blue, and there was this square archway that sprayed steam on us. But we didn't get wet. Some people wouldn't go through it as if it was like they were unworthy or something. The next thing I remember, we took off. Okay. Now, as far as the decontamination process, like I said, you had to take your clothes off. I guess to me, it was a transition as if you were to get baptized. You know, that's how I felt, because there was no hesitation with me to go through this process. You had to take off what you had on. You went through this decontamination process. It sprayed the steam on you. The feeling of it, you know it was a spray because you could hear it. You didn't get wet or anything like that. I just remember the color was neon blue. And when you did take your clothes off, it's like you weren't physically naked. You were in a different realm. Spiritually, you were dressed. But there were some people that was outside of this decontamination, and they wouldn't go through. Some were crying. Some went through. I interpreted it that some of them people weren't worthy, and they couldn't go through the process. Without further ado, I went through it, and as we were taking off, we lifted off, like I said, and there was 2 big bay windows in the chariot, but the windows were like sunglasses. And this craft was huge. You know, like you have the 2 lenses and how, you know, the bridge of your nose in between where the glasses sit. That's how the windows looked. And we were up high in the air. It lifted off. I mean, we were very high in the air. And it's like we were at war. The world was at war. Because the craft was firing missiles and stuff at these giants on Earth, because I could see them. Now this giant had to be at least 30 feet tall, but mind you, my spectrum of looking at it at the time, because I knew how high we were up, and I'm saying, I'm looking at his beard. I could see from, in a sense, his nose down, and I see this long, like blood red beard, and it was wavy and kind of thick, and then I could see the hair, and he was Caucasian, like a redhead would be, with a really fine, fair-skinned, okay, and we were doing battle, and I was trying to calm the people that were scared. And then it's one of them dreams, you just wake up. Okay? And another dream I had, a meteor hit the earth and the world blew up. Now this is what's crazy about this, because I had that dream one night, and the next night after that, my daughter comes into my bedroom. She's 16 years old, and she was like, "Mom, I had this crazy dream. It was kind of scary." And I said, "Well, what happened?" She says, "I dreamed that the sun hit into the earth and it blew up." Now I have it one night. The night after that, she has one. Same identical dream. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe everything's for a reason. Okay? So, let me go into my next dream. My next dream I had, it was 4/20/2019. Okay? And I saw a man in Walmart. This is in my dream. It was a black man. He was standing there. He had a green shirt on. Apparently I dream in color. And on his shirt had 420. So when I woke up, I'm thinking, well, what's this 420? What is this 420? 420 represents. So there's a thing called a gematria calculator I've been looking into, and it's words that are interpreted into numbers, okay, or numbers interpreted into words, or vice versa. So I know Denver, it was always the Weed Fest, they have 420. So I happened to go into the gematria calculator, and I says, okay, let me check out these numbers. So 420 represented, was Denver in 420 for the Weed Fest. 420 represented in the gematria calculator final conflict, America, USA, dragon is coming. Now tell me that's not wild. Okay. So then I looked up Denver. And Denver had the number of 834. So 834 represented Purple State coming for Bride of Christ. I'm like, wow, that's pretty deep. So, I'm sorry, I kind of lost track there a minute. So then I checked out Purple State, which Denver was Purple State. So that number was a 721. So that 721 represented zombie epidemic and city of Egypt. Now I know not too long ago, Denver, they had a blackout in their airport. I mean, complete blackout for some time, and a lot of people were stuck in the Denver airport, and planes weren't moving or anything like that. But I had this dream before that happened, which is weird. Okay. So at the time I was looking all this stuff up, it was 8:21 in the morning, okay? So I don't know why, but the Lord told me to look up 8:21. And as I was looking up 8:21 represented divine child. At that same time I was looking at that and reading divine child, church bells went off by my home, which they never go off around that time, but they went off at that time. And it also stated at 8:21 for that number was carry the light. Now, if that's not saying something, I don't know what is. Okay, so for my last and final dream here, I had a dream my daughter and I was riding in the car, okay, and we hit another car. No, we didn't get hurt. It was a little four-door compact blue car. It was at night. We didn't get hurt. Nobody was hurt. And we hit into another car, okay? So the headlight of the car had popped out, has the red rubber around the headlight. I guess it was an older car at the time we were driving in my dream. And we hit into this man's car. So the man gets out and he goes, "I'll pay for it." Which, you're in an accident, somebody ain't going to pay you for hitting them. So, and he wrote me a check for $114. Okay. So, back to the gematria calculator. So, I wrote down headlight. Once I had, woken up from my dream, and I had remembered it. Because when I do dream these certain things, when I wake up, the first thing I do is I write them down so I don't forget them. So I wrote down everything. So I remembered him writing me this check for $114, okay? And I remember the headlight and the black rubber piece. So all these times I've been having all these dreams, and I go into this gematria calculator, these are adding up to something. This 114. So I said, okay, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look up headlight. I'm going to look up black bumper. Okay. And I look it up. And headlight had a representation number 162. Now there's other numbers, which is 444 and 74. But the 162 popped out more than the other numbers, so I went with that. So headlight, which is 162, these are the names for this: the end, fire and ice, I am Elohim. How about that? So I says, okay, let me go look up black bumper. I look up black bumper. It has numbers 405, 570, and 95, but the 405 pops out more. Guess what it says? Eternal Lord, Book of Life, Decoding End Times, God is in the mind. And it also had torment for 405. I'm like, wow, this is deep. So then I said, well, let me look up car crash. So I look up car crash, and it has the numbers 266, 426, and 71. So the 266 stands out, okay? So 266 says, God is real. Another saying is, He is the Lord. Another saying is, let Him hear. And the other saying is, Israel, God. Now you tell me something. That's not a coincidence to me. It's just not at all. So, and I also want to say, whenever I did the Denver gematria number, that 834 that popped out, it also had days of Lot. That is not a coincidence. Not a coincidence whatsoever. So, remember I said the guy wrote me a check for $114? I look out $114, I'm sorry. It says Abraham. It says God's hand. And it says death. And it says shake. Now, my Father in heaven is not speaking to me. I don't know what is, but I know it is the Lord. But I just wanted to share these dreams with you, Israel, my brothers and sisters, because this is something that my heart's been compelling me to do for some time. And God let me know today is the day to share it. And this is to reach out and touch whoever's listening to this. And it's time to wake our people up to the light. It's time for us to get ourselves spiritually prepared, because our Lord is coming, and I believe he's speaking to a lot of us. I want to give all praises to the Most High, because he chose me, and he has been spiritually speaking to me. So when you get these type of gifts, you are supposed to share them. You're not to hold on to them, because what he has for you to say to somebody, it's for that somebody to absorb and to carry on the message, or change their life, or change the way they are living. We all walk with sin. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but somewhere along the line he's seen that I was a carrier to carry on his message. So this is what I'm doing. And again, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High. And God bless all of you for listening. Thank you for your patience, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.